Okay, Bolt for Guys YouTube channel here. It's looking more and more every day like it's highly possible that Donald Trump is the antichrist. I don't know that for sure. A lot of people really believe it. A lot of people have a lot of prophecy to go on to say that, but I don't know. There's still some things that would not work in his favor prophecy-wise. But I'd say every day that goes by, it's looking more and more like he could be. And I am on the side that believes the assassination attempt was staged. I mean, maybe he really got shot with a bullet in the ear, but if he did, it was really planned to shoot him in the ear. It's funny how that blood came out like a snake. And like if you look at the NASA logo, it's got like the snake tongue coming through the logo, and it looked just like that. Maybe that's what they rigged that to be. It was like forked snake tongue coming out of his mouth. And of course, he did read a poem one time, and one of the words were, "You let me in, and you knew I was a snake," something to that effect. I mean, it's funny how people are so pro-Trump when all the things he did, like the $6.2 trillion stimulus, the highest spending bill in the history of the world, was done by a so-called conservative. You know, he's so proud of his Operation Warp Speed, brought us the vax, didn't protect anybody from lockdowns, didn't protect anybody from face masks. He was like, "Oh no, that's states' rights, that's not for me. Hello, we could use a little help here. We're being locked down." No, the states have a right to lock you down, right? I mean, the guy, he's not against abortion. The only platform he ran on was late-term abortion, but he's not against any other type of abortion. He's in favor of homosexuality, sodomy, the Pride movement. I mean, really the Republican Party, which I haven't been part of for, I don't know, 12 years, maybe longer. Because I knew it was corrupted way back then, but now it's totally where the Democrats were pre-COVID, right? And now the Democrats are more communist. So the whole thing is really taking a sharp turn. But one thing that's really got me believing that, well, I know for sure we're in the final stages that are leading into the tribulation and leading into the return of Christ after the tribulation, before God's wrath is poured out. So I believe that we could be. There are some thought process that say we're actually we're the COVID 2020 was the beginning of the tribulation, and we're at the halfway point now. And now this is why things are ramping up. And now we're going to see the real tribulation occur, where you're going to have to get the mark of the beast. And that could be like anytime after Trump's elected. It could be before. So if that's the case, I think we're probably another 3.5 years out from the wrath of God, which means the return of Christ would be shortly before that. Or there's also a school of thought that we're going into the 7-year tribulation period. And so if that's the case, we would expect we'd expect Christ to return somewhere around 2030 or something to that effect. So yeah, some different schools of thought here, but definitely things are starting to happen. I think with that assassination attempt, that staged assassination attempt. Oh, remember Hulk Hogan was at the RNC and ripped his shirt off? He said, "Enough is enough." There's actually like an Illuminati card game that says "Enough is enough." It's got a picture of a man making a face that was identical to the face that Trump was making when he was like saying like "fight" or something like that after he got shot. And it says "Enough is enough" on this card, and it says our snipers can take you out anytime they want. So there's a lot of things that would be like, wow, that's a really strange coincidence if this isn't staged. You know, a lot of things like that happening. And of course, we know Hulk Hogan wrestled for the NWO, the New World Order. So wouldn't it seem fitting that they would bring him up at this time to announce Donald Trump or to speak at the RNC, because he was part of the New World Order back in the WWF days. So, yeah, it's starting to look a lot like Trump could be the Antichrist. I'm still not sure on that. I was kind of thinking it was going to be King Charles, but I'm not sure who it is at this point. But I really think it's around the corner. I really think it's close. I really think that it's a good time to be getting out of the U.S., getting somewhere else. Even if you get to Mexico illegally, don't worry about it. I've been living in Mexico illegally for many years. It doesn't seem to be a problem. I've been arrested here. Now, when you get arrested in Mexico, you don't want to give them your information. That's what I've always done. They always let me go. But I don't think it's a big deal to be here illegally. It's better to be here illegally than in the States legally under the tribulation system. Because in Mexico, there's still farming. Nobody's trying to shut down farmers and cattle ranchers. And they're not making crazy water restriction regulations to where you can't water your crops. And really the heart and center of the tribulation is going to be the U.S. Does that mean the rest of the world isn't going to have the same mark of the beast and it's the same rules applying that you can't buy or sell? Of course. You're not going to be able to legally obtain a job. You're not going to be able to legally walk into a grocery store or buy something. But there's farms everywhere. You know, if you go to the right places, there's ranches everywhere. You know, this stuff isn't being shut down here like it is in the U.S. So there will be a way to get food here. Even if you pay your neighbor, you know, I'll give you 2 pesos to go buy me a peso's worth of rice, right? Even if you have somebody you can pay to go grocery shopping for you, it'll be easier to do here. We don't live in Mexico. It's not a nation of ninny Karens, where if you're like, say you're outside of a Walmart and you're trying to get somebody to go buy you some rice, they're not going to be like, this guy's trying to get us to buy rice for him. You know, like that would happen in the U.S., you know, in Mexico, nobody would care. They'd be like, okay, I'll buy you some rice. So don't worry about being legal. If you can get across with a tourist visa, do that. There are actually a lot of people becoming legal here because Mexico loosened the restrictions because of COVID, where they used to have really strict restrictions. You had to show a certain amount of money in the bank. You had financial requirements. You had to show that you were retired and you were getting a check, or that you had some kind of investments that were paying you monthly, and you had to prove this stuff, and it had to be significant. You know, like $100,000 a year or something. But now they made it real easy because of COVID that a lot of people are grandfathered in. I prefer to be legal myself, so I don't worry about that stuff. But yeah, you can live in Mexico illegally. I've done it for at least 4 years now. It's not a problem. I've driven without a driver's license. No plates or anything. I've gone through roadblocks, and I just take my camera, my phone out, and I start recording them, and they usually just wave me on by because I'm a gringo and they don't want to mess with me, and they know I know my stuff. So yeah, I would start getting out of the States really quick, guys, because things are coming to an end here. I mean, obviously, a lot of people think because they got their guns and their bunkers, they're going to somehow be okay, but that's not going to work. I'm telling you, the U.S. is the heart and center of this Roman system that's about to take place. It's about to occur. And I would get out of there. I'd get anywhere but there if I were you. Anywhere but there, the UK, any of these nanny states, I'd get away from them. Get away from them. But that's pretty much all I got. God bless you guys. Any of you guys that have already left, Godspeed to you. And I pray the Lord protect you. Pray the Lord protect your families. God bless.